And what office are you running for, and why are you running for office?
I'm running for the United States House of Representatives, Congressional District 21. And I'm running because there's major issues facing our country over the next 5 or 10 years, such as the national debt, affordability that's going on right now, saving Social Security, deleveraging ourselves from China. I have a background in finance, and so I think we need to start sending people with finance backgrounds to Washington, D.C.
Can you tell me a little bit about why you feel like that background is so important?
Because my career was spent in bond market. So I actually traded the debt of companies and countries. So who better to know how to deal with the debt of a country than somebody who's dealt with it their whole lives? I've seen companies and countries, how good companies that have dealt with debt properly, those countries that have not dealt with debt properly, how have they dealt with it? What can we do to avoid it? What can we do to decrease it? And I feel like we need to start sending somebody to Washington that actually cares about that, because the debt, like we were just talking about affordability. Affordability is directly tied to our national deficit. We can't get interest rates down until we actually tackle the debt, and we can't tackle inflation until we actually tackle the debt.
What are your top 3 initiatives of your campaign?
Well, the debt is one. I want to actually start looking at our assets in this country. I'd like to know exactly how many assets we have, and I would like to start leveraging them and squeezing every dollar we can out of them and start using that to pay down the debt. I would love to attack affordability, especially for our kids. I think you've seen that 60% of people under 30 years old are accepting of some form of socialism. That scares me, and I want to help them. I want to help those kids, those people between 20 and 40 years old that can't own a house. They're not having babies. I think that really affects us. And so that's the second one. And, I'd say the third probably is sorry.
You're good.
It'd be between trying to save Social Security and deleveraging ourselves from China, because I think China has way too much leverage on us right now.
Can you talk about some of where you stand in terms of big ticket items like taxes and healthcare, especially how that would pertain to the people in your district?
Mm-hmm. Well, taxes, I'm a firm believer in the money is always better left in the individual, in the taxpayer's hand, than it is in the U.S. government. I think we've seen how much waste, fraud, and abuse there is, and I think nobody knows how to spend your money better than you do. So I'm all for leaving as much money in your pocket as I can. What was the other question?
Healthcare.
Healthcare. I'm also in healthcare. You'll find out about me that I'm a free market individual. So I don't believe healthcare is that difficult to fix. I think the problem with healthcare is that there's too many lobbyists, too much special interest in pharmaceuticals and in insurance companies that basically tell us how we can run our healthcare system. I believe if we were to open our healthcare system up to the free market, so say that you expand your networks, so that let's say you had an MRI and you could get one in Bernie for $700, or you could get one here in San Antonio for $300. If I had the choice and I could actually go to both doctors, then the price would come down to the $300 because I could actually go here, and the one at $700 would have to bring their prices down. That's the free market. I think those networks should be expanded. I think that you should be able to buy insurance across state lines. So let's say that it's cheaper in Georgia. You can get a policy cheaper in Georgia. You should be able to get that policy in Georgia, and right now you can't do that. So I think if we open up the healthcare system to more of a free market system that wasn't so burdened by lobbyists and run by lobbyists, I think we'd be much better off in this country. More choice, more transparency, and a lot cheaper.
How do you match up your campaign and entice people to vote for you when you have opponents, so many of them, and then also an opponent who's backed by President Donald Trump and Governor Greg Abbott? Yeah,
it's message. It's knowing the issues more than my opponent. That's really what it comes down to. It's actually having solutions for these issues. A lot of people will go out there and they'll say the buzzwords that get you fired up emotionally. Sharia law, they'll talk about immigration. These are all important issues as a conservative, but they'll continue to use those issues just to get your emotions going so that you'll vote for them without offering any real solutions. My candidacy is based on real solutions for the national debt, real solutions for affordability, real solutions for education and healthcare and immigration. I would love to talk about education. Our kids are suffering from that, and I have examples of how to fix that as well.
What are some of those examples of how to fix education?
So I would like to see, I don't know if you remember, you had a guidance counselor, right? You go to your guidance counselor when you're going to figure out what you're going to do next year, right? Your guidance counselor says, what do you want to do? And you say, I want to be an art history major, which is fine, great. But I want the guidance counselor to then pull and tell you transparently how much money you can expect to be making after you get out of college, what your debt load will look like after college, what your insurance will look like after college, your rent, everything. And then you may look at that and say, oh, goodness, I'm going to be in the red quite substantially. Maybe I want to look at another major. Maybe I want to be an engineer. Maybe I want to be a lawyer, a doctor, or a nurse. Maybe I want to go into the trades, vocational education. Maybe I want to be a welder or electrician. I think kids deserve, and parents deserve, more information up front before they go into that type of situation. I'd also like to start holding universities accountable. So if they're going to give out a degree, they should be held accountable if that child, that kid, that young adult cannot pay back that loan. They should be on the hook for it, not us as taxpayers. There should be some sort of an return on investment label across all universities so that kids and parents can actually see what are the returns on my investments at this particular university. When you have a university that has no accountability, they can charge whatever they want because they know the US government will pick up the tab if they fail.
Okay. And when it comes to people actually going out to the polls to vote and having to sift through 14 candidates, what is the one way that stands out for you for people to see you through all of that?
I have been taking it one voter at a time, and I've been saying this type of a message to one voter at a time. I have worked nonstop for the last 6 months to be in front of as many people as I can. The only way I'm going to win this race is by sending out this message, because so few people, even in government, let's be honest, our Congress has a 17% approval rating. It's both parties are failing us. And the more people you can get in front of and tell this message, it's a fresh message when somebody actually has a solution for education or healthcare or the national debt. It's very fresh in their ears. They love to hear that somebody's actually going to go and take that message. They love to hear somebody that actually is ready to make a commitment to have term limits, ready to have a commitment to not trade any stocks. I was a bond trader for 25 years. It was very difficult for me to trade stocks, but yet a congressman or a congresswoman can go pass a bill and then they can go buy the same stock if it helps it. It doesn't make any sense to me. So you start earning trust by making these pledges to people to say, I will not take a dime from pharmaceutical lobbyists or insurance lobbyists that are blocking some of the reforms that are needed in our country.
Is there anything that you want to add that you think the voter needs to know before they go to the polls that we haven't talked about?
I just want people to know that my number is there for you to call me. I would love to discuss any of these issues further with you. It's important to me that I want to go to Washington to fix these issues. I think we're sending way too many people to Washington with the wrong motives. I think as you do your research on individuals, please find out what their motivation is. So many people go to Washington, whether it's for money, for the next job, ego. You need to check and say, why does this person really want to go to Washington? And I truly want to go to Washington because I'm embarrassed that my generation and our generations ahead of me are about to leave our country worse off than when we found it for the first time in United States history. And I think we need to start sending people to Washington that really care about that. And that's me.